This is a short little video to uh, present a little project I've been working on for about a week because it's been like a brain bug, something that just I keep coming up with new ideas for. It's a FNAF game. You can tell that from the environment. The environment which I spent most of the time on because I'm really bad at constructing environment blockouts apparently. Um, I'm a programmer. It's not my field really. But this little project is essentially a remake of FNAF 2, which is the only FNAF game that I really played a lot of. I think it wasn't that I was good at it, but I definitely played it. And I think it's probably the most flawed game, at least in the original series. Original series being, I guess, up to Ultimate Custom Night. It's the most flawed, and there's a few reasons for that. One, the map layout makes absolutely no sense. From a gameplay standpoint, it's perfectly fine. Like, it's actually excellent. But from a architect like point of view, no, it's not it. So that's what I've gone ahead and done is make a new version of the layout where I've made some changes. Another one is tone. The office, although like the massive vents and massive hallway in front of you are really good for tone, the office is just too bright, and obviously the vents make no sense, so they've been replaced. Now the hallway is just it's been replaced with what is essentially going to be a glass pane. Um, one of the vent on the left side has been replaced with a doorway that comes in from essentially this room, which is the entrance room to the whole pizzeria. And then the vent on the right has just been put on the roof. And instead of it being some weird tunnel through dead space, it's just a vent that's connected to the prize corner, the room that happens to be next to your office. So that's like the main visual, like notable design changes from the player's point of view. But yeah, that's just a bunch of stuff that is less important to me because what I really wanted to do was make the AI and make the camera system, which I managed to do in a day. So we're now in the game. You can see I've got a flashlight, and if I press S, I got cameras, and the AI up. The guys are already moving. In fact, one of them happens to be very, very fast. Chica. Now, right now, they just sort of leave. Like, once they reach their office, your office, they go back to the show stage. But now's my opportunity to essentially explain what's going on. So obviously, I made the camera system. This took a bit of time. I did start work on it 2 days ago, but the work that I did on it, I completely scrapped because I came up with a better idea for it yesterday and then did that instead. That's typically how how things end up with me. Is I might try something, but like I just don't think what I'm doing is like a good way of doing it. So I just stop doing it, come back to it in a bit, and I've got like a much better idea that makes everything a lot easier to do. But that's the camera system. Uh, the animatronics, they're a little bit more interesting. They took some time to figure out how to do it exactly, like to connect dots basically. Like, how was I going to do that? But I figured that out. But let's explain. Obviously, right now they just cycle through. There's not really much difference between them. But you might be able to tell that's Chica, that was Bonnie, and that over there's Freddy. Freddy approaches from the front, Chica approaches from the right, Bonnie approaches from the left. They don't do anything, but I'll quickly explain my plans for just these three for now. There's a lot more animatronics in this game. But basically, Toy Bonnie, he approaches from your left. He goes from the show stage to the arcade. Actually, he might. I don't know. I don't think he stops off in the dining room or something. Then he goes to the Pirate Cove through the vent from the arcade, then through this vent in Pirate Cove into the entrance zone, and then from the entrance zone, he will slowly creak open your door. And when you start hearing the creaking, you gotta chuck on your mask because if he sees you, you're done. He just saw you without your mask on. He now knows that you're a human, not an animatronic. That's what he's looking for. But if you had your mask on, then he'll just close the door and he'll go back to the show stage. Where is he right now? Oh my god. He is really fast right now. Yeah, you can see him there. You're not supposed to be able to see him there. The door's going to be closed. Yeah, let's see him go back to the show stage just so I can give it an example. There he is. Cool. Toy Chica, she's interesting. She's more of a threat because she's really fast. Whereas Bonnie had to move through a bunch of rooms, Toy Chica goes from the show stage into the dining hall, down here to the prize corner, and then into your vent. But to account for how fast her movement tree is, uh, when she is clambering up to the vent, she makes a lot more noise and takes a lot more time than Bonnie does with opening your door. So you know that she's there. So then, you can put on them. You have a lot more warning, a lot more obvious forewarning to put on the mask. She's just been camping there. There you go. And lastly is Toy Freddy. Freddy Fazbear. It's really disappointing that in the game where he was the supposed to be like the main Freddy, he kind of didn't really have any impact. I mean, almost all the animatronics, like 7 or 8 of the animatronics, are essentially exactly the same in that game. Toy Freddy, he approaches you from the front. He goes from the show stage into this party room first, just to check on the kids, I guess, and then he goes down your hallway. But so far, there's not actually any difference between these three aside from the direction they come in and then I guess the sounds. Plus, Toy Freddy is coming down the hallway, so he'd be staring right at you, so he already knows you're a human, so that doesn't make any sense. Well, uh, that's because I need to explain how they work in the cameras, or at least not going to work. I might post a video about it when I get it done. But basically, Toy Freddy, if you flash him on the camera, then he will be stunned temporarily and he'll lose out on a bunch of his movement opportunities. Um, Once he reaches your hallway, he'll cover his eyes with his hands, which I think will probably make a really cool effect in game, hopefully. But it means you can't stun him when he's in the hallways. It also means that he doesn't see you when he's in the hallway. He just approaches you. He just knows that, you can flash him. But once he reaches right in front of the glass in your office, that's when he takes his hands off his eyes and starts playing the Toreador March from FNAF 1. In that state, you can flash him again. In fact, you have to. You flash him, you can do quickly whatever you need to do in the cameras, then you gotta put on your mask. Because if he unstuns and you don't have the mask on, he sees you, you're done. Game over. Uh, the other two also have camera mechanics. Toy Chica's, if you have your flashlight on her for too long on one single camera, so before they ever take a movement, then she will just take a movement instantly. Wow, I'm completely pincered. And then they all go. And then Toy Bonnie is different. If you spend too long on the camera, look, he is in the dining room. Okay. If you spend too long on Toy Bonnie in the camera, you flash them for too long, they'll destroy the camera feed. So although you'd still be able to use the camera, flash the camera for important reasons and other stuff, the video feed of the camera gets removed. So yeah, you need to be careful of those two because they're detrimental to flash on the cameras. So yeah, those are my plans. I wasn't able to get them implemented before I had to record this today, and then I'll go quickly edit it and then post it on YouTube. Thank you for, I guess, stopping by. Obviously, it's not super interesting right now, but I'll get there.